Hello, people of the internet. Today I am playing automation and I will be attempting to build a vehicle for the 2000s. As in the Mark III Golf, Ford Focus Mark 1, or Mark IV Golf I mean, and the Mark IV Astra were all cars built kind of in 97, 98 for the new millennium. Now, there are various vehicles available to us. Let's see if we have any hatchbacks that might work, because the cars I just referred to were the predominant ones at the time. They were hatchbacks. Now, we have 95 hatchbacks, two of these. I feel that's not large enough though, so what do we have for saloons? That one, but it looks too American and in many ways too 90s to use. We need something relatively modern looking. 95 sedan. This seems like it should do the job. So look at this. It's not even added the proper suspension yet. The panel material is going to be corrosion resistant steel because I feel it's a good choice for this kind of vehicle. It's a unitary, I feel, corrosion resistant steel again for the chassis. And we'll use front transverse, same as the cars I mentioned, as well as many others of the time actually. McPherson strut on the front because it's cheap, and we don't really want that unless it's really good for loading or something. It's not exactly refined suspension though. I guess torsion beam, is it? Oh, I'm thinking of something. No, maybe it was torsion beam I was thinking of. There was some suspension system where it was a more modern version of that, I believe. Maybe I'm imagining things. That is basically leaf springs made more refined though, so it's not the ideal technology to be using. I think torsion beam is cheap, so we'll start off with that. Should be quite good there. Also, it looks pretty good for the loading bay. Look at that. Lovely and flat back there. Compare it to all these technologies pretty much. Even multilink, it just doesn't have the practicality of torsion beam. So that it looks like a good suspension just based upon that alone. Now, what else do we have? I don't know. We have the body. There's the coupe. There's the hatchback. Yeah, it has to be the hatchback. Do we have any other variants? No, it won't seem to let me drag, so presumably these are the only variants we've got. Bring that back. Now, I have already got an engine for this car because I tried to build it before and it failed horribly. Just try and bring this forwards, actually. I guess the Alec Ignosis kind of idea of having maximum interior space, minimum for the mechanicals. That's probably what I'm going with here. Can that get brought back or does it look better? Kind of need to balance it. There we go. Very nice. We can flare the arches. I'm not sure we'll need to do it. Maybe we will. Just worth having a look into this stuff. Can bring that back. It looks almost like a limousine now. Maybe if we tip that back a little. It's all about the balance. I don't want to just bring that too far forwards and then have a huge amount of plastic in front of a driver for no real reason. But I don't want to bring it too far back and compromise interior space. Now, if we can, I don't know. That should be pretty good though, for practicality. Making it look good is a completely different ordeal. We can bring it back. It looks kind of stupid now, but it's a front wheel drive, so we don't really have a need to add stuff to the back. Oh, I've revealed the future. Yeah, I say it's front wheel drive. It could have been all wheel drive until I said that. Yeah, we could have a chrome car, we could have a plastic car. I'm not sure an entirely plastic car would sell. It would probably just crack in the sun. Now, what colours do we have? I think what I'll actually do is add a colour. And I'll make my own colour. I use blue a lot, so let's try something a bit different. Maybe a crystallic kind of nice blue. Moon blue, we could call it, if I can get this white. So what's that? Does it say? Oh, there we go. Beautiful moon blue. Flake. We want flake. We want the right amount of flake even. And the right amount of shine. There we go. It's not metallic enough. Yes. Can we pearl it? Pearl doesn't look too great. So, there we go. Call it moon blue. And save that. So, where are we? Colours. Will that do it? No, close that. There we go, moon blue. So we've got our moon blue car. And we can have chrome wheels, but I think we're past that time really. Steel should do the job for now. Again, we can make our own colours as I just did. I won't want to do any more of that on camera though, because it'll just get repetitive. Could have chrome mirrors. Are we going for the premium end of the market? I don't think we are, so I don't know. We could go with carbon fibre, but that's probably more 10 years, 20 years into the future than 1997. I just don't want them plastic. If we paint those moon blue, and if we get the wheel lip, it looks kind of ridiculous actually having the moon blue there. Or that blue actually, as well. The colours look beautiful on here though. They look a lot better than the old version of automation. Yeah, I can imagine the viewers watching that. I'll be the judge of what's beautiful. We can have chrome window trim. Pretty popular these days on higher end cars. Or pretty popular for what feels like forever actually. I don't remember it ever being out of fashion on more expensive vehicles. Maybe in the 70s. But that's about it. Pink window trim. No, we're not trying to build a Mr. Blobby car. Yeah, moon blue, that's what I was thinking. If we make that moon blue instead of anything else, it looks nice. It doesn't look classy or anything, but it doesn't look like it's trying to be anything. It's just simple, it's there, it does what it does. Now, the lights. I have some ridiculous idea. It'll probably fail horribly. I'm sorry. Maybe not. Maybe I'll make it look like a Lexus somehow. There we go. Yeah. It looks like a weird combination of an Alpine and a CRX. The late model of CRX is the one I refer to, from the 90s. Well, they're all from the 90s, aren't they, in some way? I think the early CRXs might be from the 1980s. But I refer to the late models. That looks okay. I've taken a body and I've made it look worse, but not as much worse as I would have expected, given my design skills. I think for now, I'm just going to stick a grill on here and be done with it. Hope that it gets enough cooling. We can get mesh on these. If only we could get a chrome one. Although I say that, would it work? I've not made the windows chrome, so it's got nothing to match up with. Can we flip it upside down? Yes, we can. But that does not work at all. Ooh, where are you going? Where you go? You're safer down there. I'm trying to snap it to the middle, it just doesn't want to. I think that's the middle. Nope. Try getting another grill. Ah, that one works, design-wise. That one doesn't look too bad on it. There was a point which it was snapping at, trying to find that's the difficulty. That's about as good as I'm going to get it. I said I was just going to put a grill on and be done with it. Yeah, let's do that. Now the engine I already have somewhere, hopefully. There we go. Load in the engine. And there's our engine. I'll just talk you through it very briefly. It's a 1.2 litre inline 3, designed to be quite competitive with the class. So it makes more power than a lot of the class leaders, but it makes it very, very high end. And the torque is a bit iffy on its curve, but it makes decent torque, just not a lot of torque. Now, here you'll see the settings I've used. Cam profile, it claims when you make that higher it improves economy, but it doesn't. When you make it a bit lower it improves economy. But you can't make it too low or power just starts dropping off. So that was a compromise I had to make. Ignition timing is quite high as well. That works. That I can get another horsepower, but it hurts economy too much for me. And I'll let it run for you now. You'll see it starts to sound more like a Honda VTEC engine up here, but low down it sounds a bit more growly. That's just the nature of the engine, but I don't mind the sound. I think it's quite nice actually. Now, in this vehicle we have options. Should we go for an automatic transmission? It'll probably be far less economical though than a manual, so we'll stick with a manual just for benchmarking purposes. Maybe go to an automatic later, just because we want this as a everyday car. We want people to have the option of not having to change gear if they don't want to. Now, we have various differentials that are cheap. I'm thinking if we want to build a sport version of this car though, it would be good to have a vicious differential. It's very cheap, it's within 20 monies of the open differential, but it'll allow us to just stick that in the sport model without any extra development to it, so I would hope. So that should be a good option actually, but I may go to an open. It really depends on what I feel like doing. We have various tyre choices. I'll stick with hard long life for now, and boy, this does not like fitting tyres. You're gonna get a bit fatter car, it's just the nature of things. 175 should be a good option. I'm making this up as I go along. Now, do we need less width? If anything, we need less width at the front. But then that gives us our lovely, lovely 175s. That vaguely fits. It looks a bit fatter than I would like. A bit of a wide body even. Maybe we should just settle for 165s, or have my crazy idea, which I don't really want to do. Bring that back in. And there is our car now. And the window's gone. There we go. It's still a bit of a wide body, but at least it doesn't look stupid anymore. Yeah, I just don't know why you can't put wide tyres on this. Maybe it's designed as a rear drive, so it's designed to have wider tyres on the back, which I guess would make sense. We could bring those rears out a little, perhaps. Nah, I don't want to. Bring that out just a tiny, tiny bit. And hopefully that looks okay. No, it doesn't. Yeah, that's about all I can do. We can make these 14 inches for better ride comfort, I feel. Alloy wheels. This is going to be a fairly mid-trim version. And we can go with One piston, solid discs at 205mm. Or we could go with vented discs. What's the price difference? A fair bit. I don't know. Maybe we should, actually. Again, as I say, just building it up as a platform to take more power. So that would mean that we could have vented discs and just increase it to 2-piston brakes when we want to turn it into a sports car. Saves redeveloping the entire brake discs. So we'll make 215s. Very big brakes, I guess, for a basic vehicle like this, but we want to make sure the precautions are in place. Then we can have 1-piston solid discs on the way, or drum brakes. Drum brakes are extremely cheap, but again, we want the solid platform, so we'll go with those. Make them maybe a little larger than standard, but the braking is for the most part done at the front, so that's not as much of an issue. Hence why we don't even need vented discs on the rear, because all the heat is going to be over those front wheels. 60, what's the balance? I'll go with 40-60. That's what I use in a lot of cars in Forza and it doesn't seem to fail me. We'll go with a fully clad under tray for purposes of aerodynamics. And 5 seats. Yeah, we should fit 5 people in here, no problem. It's not exactly a tiny vehicle. But as I was actually thinking, I've gone for 165s. I'll go with medium compound tyres as well, because they're so little cost more. Within 15, is it? Even? Just over, I think, 15 monies more for grippier tyres. So it seems like a reasonable compromise to pay that money for a bit of extra performance. Now, what have we got for cooling? It seems to say at 60, so maybe that's correct. No. So 105.72. I'm not sure if it's his standard numbers. It's saying the same cooling number. I think I'm just being completely stupid. It's saying the same cooling number because it's the exact same engine I was working with before. Now, what else do we have? We'll go with a premium interior. Try standard cassette for now. And see how that goes. Hydraulic steering. It's probably going to be too heavy to be unassisted. It'll definitely be over a ton, I can say that now. We shouldn't need any traction aids, especially not with so little performance on the low end and a limited slip differential. We'll go with advanced safety. We don't exactly want no safety on this. That would be a ridiculous idea. So we'll go with the most very basic suspension, I think. Keep things cheap and simple. Maybe we'll build up on there if we have any spare money. Now weight is 1190 kilograms and the balance is 57.1 front. That's not going bad at all. So we have 112 miles per hour top speed, so it says 35.9 miles per gallon, but that is completely unsettled on the transmission, so who knows what it's really doing. 12.3 to 60, that'll probably be compromised. And the price is pretty good actually, until I start adding value onto it. $12,000 exactly, so we could make $500 per car and still have it at a fairly reasonable price, although we have to remember this is more premium than the Focus or something. How much does a CD player cost though? Because I'm thinking if we can't fight it for value, we can at least fight it for features. And the premium CD adds a lot of money to it. So, 13,100. Yeah, the CD adds a lot of money. The other thing I did before, we went basic cassette. And that was saving a bit of money. Again, you could add $600 there, make it a $1,200 car. That would be a lot more reasonable. You'd compromise a CD player though. What I question is, does standard cassette include a CD player? Because it seems a car of this era would have a CD player. Is it just premium CD has a LCD display and other kinds of niceties that doesn't. It's hard to say. I think it doesn't have any kind of CD. I don't know why. Maybe it's just same settings as 1990 or something and they've not updated it yet. Or maybe that's just the way things are. Maybe I'm being overly optimistic about how cars had CD players then. If we look back, we'll see 5-speed manual. I did get 40 miles per gallon from this engine before with a fairly similar weight of vehicle, so it's possible. Why am I reducing the top speed? I don't know. Fire somebody. Fire somebody and tell them it's their fault. We're building the miles per gallon steadily. Oh dear. This is not going well. I did have a 6-speed before. That helps because you can just gear it really long. And also, with the sport model, it gives us all that extra gearing, all that juicy, lovely gearing to work with. Now, we are building. We are building, that's good. 40 miles per gallon. We've hit my magic number. Oh dear. Right. That means there's a problem with the car, which is presumably that it's too heavy. That's what I was appearing to hit before. Now, do we basic up the safety? Because that can be a way to add weight and add weight fast. We could add standard safety. It would still be fairly safe, but it wouldn't be as heavy. Have we got weight here? I don't know. And I've clicked off it again. It's just finding the correct balance in all of this equipment. Maybe I added too much with the brakes. Maybe that's it. Yep. It does confuse me here. How heavy are drums? That's the one element I can think I really might have added some weight to it. We're talking 1161 though. This is about the same weight we were dealing with before. So why? I'm not sure. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and finish off all the little bits around the car. Also about suspension. And I'm going to take it around the test track. But now I've actually mentioned it, the one last thing I'm going to do before jumping is I'm going to consider changing this. So what have we got for comfort? We can have pretty big pluses for comfort, but to me, I value practicality. So we'll be using primitive old suspension because it's cheap and practical. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so here I have the final vehicle. I've made a few changes to the design, but I believe they're all purely aesthetic. I just wanted to finish it off really, so you'll see here I've got some indicators. An odd position, but it kind of ties the grille together with the number plate, which actually reminds me I forgot to put a number plate on the rear. So we'll do that now, since I can't be bothered re-recording the entire video. There, number plate, all done. Anyway, I've called it the Bored Foxes, which is basically a fake Ford Focus name. I decided since it was the same class as that, it would be suitable. I mean, these tyres are really narrow though, 165s. You wouldn't normally see these, they'd normally be 185s or something. But I made it this way. Maybe it is smaller than the target vehicle though. I thought this looked about right, maybe it is a bit smaller. It weighs about the same though, so one can only guess they've done it properly. There's our little engine. I do like the little engine, it's quite efficient for the time really. But the time, yes, as I was meaning to get on to, it's set a 2 minutes 56.65 time, which has sent OBS right into the background. And that is reasonable, but it's slow. You have to remember, it's getting 40.3 miles per gallon, which for the time was pretty good. And there's always going to be compromises when you tune a car this much for economy, but it's not gonna be quick. It gets moving. It's 13 seconds 0 to 60. That is faster than the Ford Focus of the time. After 60, it won't have much grunt, but it seems to be good enough. I made a fairly major change here to the pad type. I made that 40, and I slightly increased the size of the front brakes, since I thought they wouldn't be large enough, especially in a sporty version. I also changed the suspension type to progressive and gas monotube. It didn't make any difference at all for the price. I'm not sure what's going on there, but if we look back, we'll see going to hybrid pneumatic will hike the price up by over 1,000. Going to semi-active sway bars, that will hike the price up, or so it seems. Yeah, there we go. Not a huge amount, but it did hike the price up. If we remove the high-end dampers, no difference. 12,870 on both. And the springs do the same thing. I don't know what's going on there, but I don't think the pricing difference is enough. I think we can still have this car under $13,000 and have it with slightly better suspension technology, which is all in all quite a nice feature, I think. I did also add a bit of cost with a partial aluminium. It just reduced the weight enough for me to get 40 miles per gallon with a 5-speed transmission, hence why I've done it. Although there's nothing particularly wrong with corrosion resistant steel, it's just not quite as light. Tooling costs, it's telling me, tooling costs are less, not more, that's good, as you would expect, but this is lighter. It's actually very good in terms of weight, 1119, but it's heavier than the Ford Focus still, lighter than the Vauxhall Astra of the time. Well, that's 1998, I guess, technically, but it's close enough to those. So I'm going to leave it here for this video, and say goodbye until another day.